Welcome to Denver Block by Block. I'm Eric Sultan. I'm a longtime realtor in Denver, Colorado. I've been practicing for about the past 18 years. This week, we're going to be walking around Cherry Creek and discussing what's going on with the market. No explosions right now, up or down, and just talking about why that's happening and what we might be able to expect in the future. For years, we were taught something simple: supply and demand. More supply and prices fall. Less supply and prices rise. But the version that we learned in school relied on something really critical: sellers who had to sell and buyers who had to buy. That's not what's happening in this market. Right now in central Denver, especially Congress Park, Park Hill, City Park, Montclair, Mayfair, Cherry Creek, we have homeowners who are locked in at 2.5%, 3% mortgages. To move today, they would trade that for a 6 or 7% mortgage on a higher priced purchase. That's not a small adjustment. That's a financial reset. So most of them just don't move. They stay put. And these neighborhoods aren't interchangeable. People love living here. They walk to City Park. They walk to Cherry Creek North. They know their neighborhoods very well. Their kids grow up here. These are long holds on these properties, and the price points reflect that. In Congress Park, Park Hill, City Park, Montclair, Mayfair, homes are commonly from $1.1 to $2 million for updated homes on good blocks. And in Cherry Creek, the average price is about $2.4 million. So that's a totally different tier entirely. So let's talk about the math. At 1.1 million, 20% down is about $220,000. At 2 million, that's about $400,000 down. At 2.4 million in Cherry Creek, you're looking at roughly $480,000 down. That's just to get in the door. And that dramatically narrows your buyer pool. And it makes leaving even harder. That's where people get confused. What looks like supply on paper is often, it's just not real supply. You've heard me say it before. In these neighborhoods, sellers list their homes, they test the market, they don't love the offers that they see, and they pull the listing. That kind of delisting, that was never committed supply. They didn't need to sell. They were seeing if they could for the price that they really wanted. And that's totally different. So let's flip over to buyers. We're seeing record numbers of buyers touring homes in these neighborhoods. They get pre-qualified, they run the numbers, and then after a while, some just pause. Lots of them just pause. Why? Because rents right now are often significantly lower than the mortgage payment on a comparable home. So if ownership costs $6,500 to $8,000 a month and rent is meaningfully less, some buyers just decide to step back for a while, not because they can't buy, but because they don't have to. So look at both sides: sellers who don't have to sell, buyers who don't have to buy, in high desirability neighborhoods with higher price points and jumbo loan requirements. And that's not collapse territory at all. That's not explosion territory either. So we're talking about a kind of stalemate between buyers and sellers. We're talking about buyers that don't actually need to buy, sellers that don't actually need to sell, people who get prepared to sell, people who get prepared to buy, and then after realizing that what they're attempting to do is not gonna work, where they're not gonna be able to get as much money for their house as they wanted, or they're not going to be able to buy the house that they want at a price point that they're interested in, they just move on. They have their 2.5% interest rate. Why would they need to make a purchase and move to another house if it isn't just what they like? You're seeing a lot of people who would normally be downsizing, just staying in the bigger house. You know, the heat bill just isn't that much that it means that they need to upgrade to a more expensive monthly, smaller house. And the sellers of homes, they saw a number 3-4 years ago for what their house was worth at the very, very tip top of the market. And they're not willing to let their house go for anything less than that number that they saw a few years ago. Now, over time, that's gonna change. Over time, people realize that they have to move. Most of these people, they don't need to move right now, so they're not going to. Now, of course, there are a lot of houses a lot of people that need to buy, and there are a lot of people that need to sell, but you have to be able to separate the wheat from the chaff on that. That's part of what I do, is I help to figure out who's really serious, who's getting into the market that really knows what it is that they're looking for. I do that with my own clients, you know, hey, you wanna buy a house? How much do you actually wanna spend? Are you really gonna be able to buy a house in this neighborhood? Or do you just wanna stay where you are for a little while? Or are you gonna be happier just renting for a little while? These are all real questions. I mean, there's plenty of happy renters out there in the world, and there are a lot of people pausing and choosing to do just that. If you live in one of Denver's City Park close neighborhoods or in Cherry Creek, and you just want to have a talk about real estate, or you're thinking about buying or selling a home, please reach out. This is what I do, block by block. I'm Eric Sultan, and I will see you on the next one.